Welcome to yet another exciting edition of Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. On this very edition of the program, targets are already ready for athletes who are at the Diamond League. Meanwhile, from the WTA, out there at the US Open, finalists have emerged. Super Eagles of Nigeria are ready for Koronchai against Lesotho. Details of this and many more will be yours when we return for a break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network and Equatorial Policy.
It's a delightful Friday. So glad to be here. Good morning, Mr. Siri.
Let's start. As usual, we'll start from the local scene where the Nigerian Basketball Federation has rescheduled its second phase of the Atlantic Conference Group till October. It looks like the in-thing right now, federations are not sticking to calendar. What do you make of the Basketball Federation joining what we've seen of the National Nigerian Football League as well?
Not cheering news at all, because we saw how they started, the year. A few weeks ago, we were actually praising them for their effort in ensuring that, they kick off the female, basketball activities in the league. But now that they have a postponement, but this is a little bit more, we can accommodate that complaint a little or excuse, because when they were planning this to be staged next week, they never anticipated that the youth games, will be staged close by. So, the new minister just came on board. So a lot of activities, he has to make some input. And part of the input is to, bring the youth games to the date that coincided with their plan. So almost the same venue. So it's going to be very difficult for them to also have the same venue in Asaba. So the best is for them to shift. When a higher organization has a program, the lower organization has to not shift, and that's what happens there. So I think that is a little bit understandable why the postponement in the Women League.
Season of calendars being changed by different federations. Basketball Federation joining now, but according to IPO, it seems to have, a reasonable reason why they are not meeting up with the earlier announced date. We'll look forward to September 18th fixture and join the Basketball Federation then. Away from basketball now, let's quickly go to athletics. And Sherika Jackson has taken an aim at Florence Griffiths Jonas' 35-year-old record in the 200 meters event at the Brussels Diamond League only yesterday. A lot of people had expected that this would happen, but I'm not too sure it was going to be at the Diamond League event that took place yesterday. Yes, the record has lasted over 3 decades. I think it deserves to be broken now.
Yeah, it deserves. And who older than Sherika Jackson? We saw what she did, and it just concluded the World Athletics Championship. And so, what I really want to think that she should be, because the difference between why she was unable to break that record was just split second. And so, I think that she can. It all depends on what she's able to, put in. But I won't doubt the fact that, we're going to see something dramatic today. I mean, this weekend and that weekend. And for her, she's really enjoying her time now because she's really doing well. And she hopes that she can be the only person who will break that 200 meter. Just a matter of time. I think it will be broken soon.
Talking about the 200 meters champion, Sherika Jackson, has it anything to do with what they call the Jamaican weather?
Yeah, the Jamaican weather, I mean, a whole lot. She was comparing, they just concluded, initially they have it very torrid, the World Athletics Championship, the weather there. But for her, she's saying that they haven't done it before. And they went back to Brussels where this will take place. It looks like she's gradually acclimatizing, because sometimes weather plays a big role, in what you do. So the Jamaican weather and that of Brussels have similarity, and so for her, the temperature might even allow her to excel.
Let's go to boxing quickly. And Tyson Fury has hit back at critics who have questioned his bout with the mixed martial arts star Francis Ngannou before saying that the showdown is imminent.
For Francis Ngannou, I mean, since the announcement of this bout, a lot of people criticized Tyson Fury. They felt that this is like a prepared and packaged fight. I mean, you left all the heavyweights and then you're going to fight Ngannou, who is a mixed martial art artist, fighter. So to them, it looks like it's a change from the norm. That's not what they're used to. But this man has said he wants to fight, and Ngannou is not taking it easy too. And so the question throughout the press conference that they had within the week, the big question was about, a lot of persons talking tough, and he was also very tough in replying. So I think that Tyson Fury knows what he's doing, but the criticism has come because a lot of people have expected the undisputed bout, but looks like he's not willing to, have that now. So that's why the criticism is rising. Otherwise, it's not bad, to have a fight, but when you're fighting an MMA star, and he has said he was going to fight him in the octagon, so we'll keep our finger crossed and see how next month we pan out for them.
I'll really pan out between Ngono. Everybody knows him to be fine, but it looks like everybody knows that he's Cameroonian. He's African. He looks to me as the only man from Africa right now that can get the job done, given that we've seen the sliding down of Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, I think in that presser, Ngannou said categorically that he's not going to take it easy with Tyson Fury. If beating Tyson Fury will make him #1, then he's going to do that. Unfortunately for him, the belts are not on the line, so the WBC belt is not part of the negotiation here. So even if he gets to win that fight, Tyson Fury will still be the World Heavyweight Council belt holder. And I think that for him, I think this is about pride and the money involved here. But Ngannou truly has proven that he has showcased a lot of class. He has a lot of knockouts and a lot of wins. So if you look at his CV, you think that if there's any man who can fight him now, maybe apart from the undisputed bout proposed was thinking to come to be, this man has the strength. And I'm sure in the last 1 year he has been practicing how to also use the glove very well in course of the fight. So we'll get to see. I mean, this fight we've anticipated it for a very long time. We cannot wait to see how a mixed martial art artist will now get to fight a heavyweight boxer.
Well, for me, it's novelty when you see boxers from a different background they're coming to stick at this one. Let's see how a mixed martial artist can turn out to take away entire police in the ring. There will be no need for using of the leg in this one. And if there's no need for using of the leg, I'm not sure there will be, undue advantage given to the mixed martial artist. It has to be fist and, of course, blow coming through with the both fighters. Enough for boxing. Now let's go to tennis. And the US Open is one which a lot of people are looking forward to. It is the last Grand Slam of the season. And it promises to be, exciting more because we're having what may look like a brand new champion in the female category. Talking about the WTA, we now have finalists at this year's US Open. A lot of people have talked about a 19-year-old American, Coco Gauff. From the way she's played at tennis this season, she's been fantastic. She's had over 20 games now, and she's won about 18 or so of the matches that she's played on the WTA tour. The biggest one is her appearance in her very first Grand Slam final. Only yesterday, she took out Mochova, the Czech Republic opponent, and for her to now emerge as a finalist in this year's US Open. First of all, let's look at the way she took out her opponent in a relatively straight set, 6-4, 7-5. Were you expecting it to be that easy?
I wasn't. I mean, that fight was threaded with some protests there. We saw that categorically. But I think that Karolina Muchova is taken for granted. She has also done her part, in recent times, showcasing that she's no pushover. If you look at some of the fights, getting to get past Serena 60 in that one, it was a straight set for her. She has a way of getting past 6-love, 6-3. That was what she displayed in that particular one. So you know that it wouldn't be an easy one again, for against a young lad. But the energy that Coco Gauff came with into this one is something that not many saw it coming. But I think it's fantastic getting to see her, display. But I mean, no surprises that I thought it would go to the third set, but Coco Gauff had a different plan altogether, and it was more like she has the backing of the fans, and that truly also aided her to to achieving this feat.
Talking about Coco Gauff and the way she dispatched her opponent from the Czech Republic, Muchkova, for me, 49 seconds in the entire game, it couldn't even stretch to 1 hour.
Yeah, it couldn't stretch to 1 hour. 4-7-5. I mean, the second set looks to have.
No, but you could have second sets. You could have 2 sets.
It depends on how far.
Yes.
But like I said, I mean, we saw the protests, and I think Karina Muchova was really intimidated by a whole lot of things, you know, in the game today. And the Coco Gauff showed why she's one of the best in this year's US Open. I think that it's just one of those things. Sometimes a lot of us I expected a very tricky time, maybe a tie that will stretch, you know, on our basis, because but we saw that Coco Gauff was outstanding in all. At some point, the game was called to a halt. You know, that was, I'm sure that was.
Yeah, talking about the game called to a halt because of the fans' protests. We saw 4 protesters, you know, apparently talking about climate change. You remember they were very mixed about fuel, you know, fossil fuel in the United States of America. And we saw an initial 3 of them being taken out, but it looks like the 4th protester took a longer time for the New York police to take them out of the Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, when we see a tournament like this without having to see the fans display, you know, recently we've had to see some person complain. Azarev complained some days ago that the fans were, you know, reacting to in such manner that shouldn't be. Over time, to see the fans, you know, create some form of a scenario that makes it. In fact, they are always in the news because they will always have their way. And I'm not surprised what played out today, but I think that the organizers should look into it so that they look at it, see if there are good initiative or there are good propositions from them. Look at it, but if they are not, I mean, sometimes it's just cause for distraction, and it's sometimes it does a whole lot in distracting the players, you know, on court. So, but I think that regardless, Coco Gauff was in fantastic form. It doesn't matter for me. Climate change is something that we've talked about for a very long time. But getting to see the fans react in such manner, to me, it really calls for worry. Well,
the fans at the Arthur Ashe Stadium, some of them actually protesting there, but they were taken care of by the New York police. As we speak, they are under investigation out there in New York. Talking about the WTA final decided for this year, Coco Gauff is on one side, having taken out Muchkova, but Aryna Sabalenka, the world number 2, now world number 1, though officially it will be confirmed on Monday. So what looks like a difficult match against Madison Keys from the United States of America. Yes, I think Aryna Sabalenka was able to stop an All-American final there. But first, let's look at this fixture, Epo. Aryna Sabalenka, world number 2 now, world number 1, awaiting let's say coronation, so to say, in the next few hours. Looks like running into troubled waters with Madison Keys.
It wasn't an easy one at all. I mean, it was a topsy-turvy encounter for her, and it took her fortitude, resilience, you know, to get past this lady, because for Madison Keys, if you look at how Madison Keys came into this particular one,
you got the first 6 love?
Yes, 6 love straight down, and wow. We are surprised. I mean, the fans were cheering her, that momentum, but how eager she was and how Aryna Sabalenka came into that particular one, you know, to change the narrative was really impressive. It ended in a tie break, you know, before they went into the last set, which also ended in a tie break, and so it shows that it wasn't easy at all. Madison Keys is at her best. Unfortunately, the experience of as Aryna Sabalenka, I'm sure she would have looked at to say, man, if I do not get to the finals, I mean, being a world number 1, the crown will not be sweet to celebrate. And so she brought everything. She was agitated after the first set, but we saw her, you know, calmly do the needful, and that's what experience, you know, does in games like that. We saw her, even if it ended on tie breaks, the last 2 sets, but it was enough for her to get a 6 love, a 7-6, 7-6-5, a 7-6 game now, and all tie breaks, and I think it's going to be a warning for her to prepare more going to the finals against Coco Gauff.
Coco Gauff now will have to take on Aryna Sabalenka in the final of the US Open for 2023. That match comes up tomorrow, and it promises to be thrilling. We've seen Coco Gauff in the final, I think that was last year or so. Can she make it this time against the world number 2, Aryna Sabalenka?
Yeah, if you compare, I would have been more afraid if she's going to play even Madison Keys, or she's going to play a certain Iga Swiatek, who was listed out by Madison Keys. But I think that playing against Aryna Sabalenka The only advantage that Ina Sabalenka will have is on experience and the fact that she knows.
Home.
Yes, she knows that after that day she will become world #1, and maybe that will prepare her to want to win that particular one. She has also won a Grand Slam this year. Don't forget. So it looks like she want to win this one again. But I mean, if there's one player who is very motivated, the fans will be by her side, is Coco Gauff. When she started in 2019, a lot of person, prophesied that this lady will be the next thing in tennis in the US, and gradually she's living up to that dream. We saw how she won the Cincinnati Open going into this particular one, and she looks like one of the best WTA players. She's done whenever she's playing against her opponent, and I don't think it's kind of very difficult to repredict. Going from the last game now, where we saw the struggle that Ina Sabalenka had with Madison Keys. So for me, I keep my finger crossed and keep my mind open to see how we play out tomorrow. But I mean, whoever wins, they truly deserve to be a champion.
Whoever deserves to be a champion. And talking about Coco Gauff, this year she's played 18 matches and she's won 17 of the 18 matches. And as if that's not enough, she's won the last 11 games consecutively. She's won the last 11 games, so she's in a top form, I must tell you. And no wonder she is reputed to be, America's best right now, because she's the youngest. Serena Williams in 2000, I think 1999 and 2000 to reach the final on home soil. The Americans haven't had it better in tennis in the last 20 years, like we've seen now with Coco Gauff.
They haven't, and I'm sure that this will be their biggest and telling news for Coco Gauff. I mean, you look at her and you feel that she deserves to be a Grand Slam winner. She has really done a whole lot. She lost to Iga Swiatek, in one of the finals. So I think that with the ghosty nature that she's bringing into this game, and with her strength, the fortitude, the effort I've seen her play, she's very dogged on the court. I think that she truly deserves to get this one. She has proven that she's not. Her effort is not a one-off thing like we saw, with Emma Raducanu, but she's gradually built on from what she has. Also have her fears of failures, and she has tightened those loopholes, just to move on. So for me, I think that she deserves to win, but she's going to have a very strong rivalry, between herself and Ina Sabalenka on court tomorrow, because it won't be easy at all. Getting to win $3 million is at stake here, and the fact that you are a winner of a Grand Slam. For Iga, for Coco, I think this will be her biggest motivation.
Well, that's for the WTA. Let's look at the ATP. That's the male version at the US Open, and the attention definitely will be on today, because we have the semi-final of the men's game. And world number 2, Novak Djokovic has a date with history. Will he make it to Grand Slam 24, or it will be stopped at the semi-final by a relatively unknown American, Shelton? We've seen Shelton, display some, let's say, excellent play so far this year. Ben Shelton of the United States of America, but he's coming up against Novak Djokovic, one man who knows how to win at the Arthur Ashe Stadium there in New York.
Yeah, for Novak Djokovic, he has a stronger motivation, and who says that Ben Shelton too, who got past the Francis Tiafoe in the quarterfinals, will not also have a better motivation. But I think that for Ben Shelton, his experience is gradually leading him to something. Winning a prize for himself, and that is what will motivate him to say, okay, I've come this far. It's not a fluke. I need to show the world that I have what it takes. So, but for me, I think that Novak Djokovic has a better advantage, getting to win. He has broken Roger Federer's record, and he hopes to, echo the record of Margaret Court. So if there's one motivation that, if there's one player who is so motivated, should be a certain Novak Djokovic. Not taking for granted that the likes of Medvedev or Carlos Alcaraz might be in the finals, but the big thing now is for him to get past Ben Shelton. But Ben Shelton, whatever his achievement at this point, he would accept it that he has done a whole lot for himself. He has made a little history in the sands of time. And I hope that getting to play the finals will also be a very remarkable one for him.
Talking about Novak Djokovic, the man who has the most wins at the semi-final at the U.S. Open or in Grand Slam history. He's now gotten the 47th semi-final appearances at Grand Slam. No other player has that record. That record belonged to Roger Federer in the past, but that has been taken over now by Novak Djokovic, world number one from Serbia. They are coming up against a relatively Shelton, who do not have plenty of Grand Slam experience there. But let's look at it. Novak Djokovic, can he still continue to contend with the not just him alone, the players right now? There's the enormous heat condition out there in the United States of America, especially in New York, where these games are taking place. I've witnessed so far this Grand Slam where players have to take off their shirts just to, not burn out completely from the intensity and of the heat.
Actually, I mean, the temperature very high there in high altitude, and I think that that's
over 100, over 90 degrees,
90 degrees Celsius,
yes.
And not a very good one at all for players like that. I mean, let's say it wasn't like this, and one wonder why. It's not about the climate change like we talked about earlier, but I think that that may play a factor. But Novak Djokovic will have also, I'm sure he should be able to acclimatize, even if it's a do-or-die encounter for him. He needs to get to the finals and be hopeful of creating a record for himself there. But at this point now, what motivates players is not really the challenges that they're going to go through. He knows that this might also happen because we saw against Daniil Medvedev and Andrei Rublev, we saw the heat in high altitude. Daniil Medvedev had to take off his shirt and was holding two ice blocks, just to cool himself down. So I think that the organizers needs to look at this critically. But as to whether it's going to make an impact or play an impact in today's game, yes, it will against Belshooting. But then it's a two-way thing, and I think that Novak Djokovic should be able to get past this obstacle and see himself in the finals.
Well, Novak Djokovic looking at getting to the final and maybe winning his 24 Grand Slam, meeting up with that record set by Margaret Court. No other male player has been able to win as many as 23 Grand Slam, and that's what Novak Djokovic has done. And let's hope that he can take it a step higher by getting to the final and maybe winning it and equaling a female's record. Margaret Court, like I mentioned to you, the only lady in the Open era to have made it up to 24 Grand Slam. But he has to take out one man, Shelton, who was at the Australian Open quarterfinals, his farthest so far, now getting to the semi-final of the US Open. Serbia versus America, that's what it is. But like I mentioned to you, there's a lot of experience on the part of Novak Djokovic as compared to the relatively young Belshooting from the United States of America. Let's look at the other semi-final pairing. Who gets to the final in the other group? We now have world number one. Everybody knows him, Carlos Alcaraz from Spain, up against one man that knows how to get the job done as well, Daniil Medvedev. Epo, this is really a crunch tie between these two. Talking about world number one Novak Djokovic, I'm sorry, Carlos Alcaraz, he's had to win 5 games so far, and he's dropped only 1 set coming all to the way to the semi-final.
I think that Daniil Medvedev, if he continues in the way he has played so far, it looks like the only man that can stop Carlos Alcaraz at this point. It's evenly tied. Yes, in recent time we have seen Carlos Alcaraz, get past him. He has defeated him not once, not twice, to show that he's in for something. But this is a different game altogether. And I think that for Medvedev, he has defeated the likes of Alex de Minaur in the round of 16. He defeated Andrei Rublev in the quarterfinals before getting the ticket. And for Alcaraz, Alcaraz will be hoping that I haven't gone this far. Nothing. I mean, we have not seen, apart from Zverev, who played him in the quarterfinals, we have not seen a very strong KG fight. Strong seed playing against Carlos Alcaraz to test his weather. So this is going to be one of the toughest tie he has ever played in this year's US Open. So I keep my finger crossed. But then I know for sure that Alcaraz will be very motivated to win this particular one. He's the defending champion, and he understands the terrain more better, and he feels that he can do it. At this point now, it's not about whether he's a clay court specialist. He has proven that any court at all he can display. And after Ashe said today, I won't be surprised to see how it all ends.
Something interesting about the pairings at the U.S. men's semi-finals. 3 of them are former champions. But for Ben Shelton, the others know what it means to play at the final. Especially for Carlos. Carlos just won his very first Grand Slam, which was at the US Open last year. Maybe because a lot of people say it had to do with the absence of Novak Djokovic because of COVID-19 restrictions. But for me, can you rate the quality of this year's semi-final in the men's category? 3 former champions in the semi-finals.
And that's more difficult. That's why it's more difficult to really, put your feet on and say this is going to go this side, because upset is the game. Nobody would have believed that some of the names we've seen all set out would have been all set out. But I think that they are the best so far. For maybe except for Ben Shelton, who his experience and his effort has gotten him to this level, which is for me a very commendable feat from him. But I think that it's lovely. It shows that these are the best in the ATP stance now. Take nothing for granted they are, because we look at match point and look at the way they have played so far. You don't want to step down any of these players. As for certain Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic, we already know. I mean, bookmakers are hoping that they will be in the final. But I tell you, Medvedev might just be the man. Ben Shelton could also be the man who will stop, this feat. So we'll keep our finger crossed and make our minds open, because at this point, it's really difficult. For Novak Djokovic, he has a slight advantage because of his experience and all he's achieved in tennis as compared to Ben Shelton. But same cannot be said of Carlos Alcaraz and then Medvedev, because Medvedev have also tasted this particular Grand Slam. So it makes it look like an open-ended process. We'll just wait to see how far it all pans out at the Arthur Ashe Stadium. And I tell you for sure, Mr. Siri, whatever happens, many will not be surprised.
Not many will be surprised by the outcome of the semi-final fixtures later today at the Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York, where the US Open semi-final is taking place. We'll keep an eye on it. Trust us on the program Sports Extraordinary at 6 p.m. Nigerian time. We'll definitely give you results of some of the matches that have been played at the semi-final stage at the US Open. Like I mentioned to you, tomorrow is D-Day for the females final, and it promises to be very thrilling. 19-year-old Coco go up against another player who knows how to get the job done, Arina Sabalenka, who is presently the world number 2. Well, that's time for us now to get to our break. And when we return from the break, we'll go to the world of football, where there's been some very interesting development. Don't forget, this weekend, the Super Eagles of Nigeria are up against their counterpart from Sao Tome and Principe, and it promises to be very thrilling as well. Maybe in between that, we'll take a look at the Nigerian Football Federation. They seem to be working in close partnership with the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria. When we return for a break, details will be all yours. sports talk here on Atlantic Television Network, and we'll now go into football, and we'll start with the leadership of Nigerian Football Federation, who now has assured of their readiness to partner with the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria in this bid to resolve the round leader game, or just taking the round leader games to greater heights in the country. I don't know how the Football Federation could get their job done without proper and strong partnership with the National Sports Writers Association of Nigeria.
Yeah, I mean the sports writers they hold the nucleus of reporting the activities of the Nigerian Football Federation, which is a sub part, and sports in general. And so every federation should have that strong cordial relationship with them, and so that they can enhance the beauty of sports reportage in the country. And I think that it is timely that the new elected executive, paid courtesy visit to the President Ibrahim Gusau, to share that vision and also to align with his own vision to see that football activities is highly, not just electrified, but highly, announced and reported. PRO is key here, and for me, I think that they've done something worth reporting, something worth talking about. And like he encouraged them, I mean, the only way we can have a sustainable football growth in the country is when these different bodies, different factions come together to work together and then can have a cooperative achievement.
President of the Sport Writers Association of Nigeria, Benjamin, had some good words for the leadership of the Nigerian Football Federation.
Yeah, he has, and he has come out to say that, first off, appreciating the leadership for, this is the first time we're going to see standing committees, SWAN being recognized in the NFF committee formation, and making some of the members, standing committee members, they truly cheering. It shows that this administration of the NFF is willing to partner with the sports writers to see that we all move the football here in Nigeria to a next level. And I think is what commendable. He talked about bringing them the policies, aligning them with the policies, so that they can be part of it and also show that responsibility where necessary. Because, like I said, it takes a cooperative effort to achieve a meaningful system, and the football is a system here, and everybody must cooperate together to do that.
Writers Association promising to give their best in supporting the programs of the Nigerian Football Federation. Talking about football here in Nigeria reminds me that the Nigerian Professional Football League has been under hammer in the last few days after having to shift the commencement date of the 2023-2024 football season here in Nigeria for the third time. And it is not just Sport Writers Association of Nigeria and maybe other stakeholders that are complaining about this third time shift of the commencement date of the Nigerian Professional Football League. The players themselves, too, are showing their displeasure at this constant postponement date for the league.
Yeah, so I remember a few weeks back when we talked about this, and a lot of us were not happy because massive preparation from 24th, the players were ready. At some point, some persons fingered the club owners for being responsible for the postponement, and the club owners came out to express that they have no hands in that because their clubs are already prepared. As a matter of fact, we have seen rejuvenated club owners, and so if the club owners are prepared, you can also bet that the players are prepared because they own this club. These players play for them, and they are paid for it. So I think that this is solely about for whatever reasons, two reasons have been given as cogent for the postponement of the league starting, which would have started tomorrow. They said that they want to tighten up, the loose end of their sponsorship deal, and they want to also have AGM. And like colleagues have heard that, what has this two? I mean, can't we start and you still do the needful? So the reason is watery. It doesn't hold water. But I mean, what do we know? I only to continue to express that this is not a good way, because a lot of people have so strong confidence in the ability of this board to elevate Nigerian football. If the reason at the end of the day will help the growth of our league, okay. But then it is becoming one among two things. I mean, coming over time to express your concern to postpone the league. Especially this one is very close because it's just barely 2 days to the start of the league. It doesn't show professionalism in what we're doing, and I think that it is high time they sit up. Otherwise, the confidence that a lot of person already had towards the start of the league will begin to dampen, and that is not good for the image of the league.
Okay, repeating, is no rocket science to plan a program and stick to it. We've seen it repeatedly in the over 2 or 3 decades now. We've seen the Premiership football across which we follow so well in England. But again, for me, a calendar year in playing football should not be so difficult to plan. But repeatedly, here in Nigeria, we've seen leagues postponed. We talked about the whole of last year. We did an abridged league, just to align with the calendar of CAF and align with the calendar of FIFA, so that our teams can enjoy some good leagues. We've seen our teams often knocked out from the very preliminary stages of the CAF Confederations Cup and Champions League because the season has not started. When you play against a country or a club side that has had at least a month or two, play 10 or more games, in the league, they are better prepared than a team that is just using preseason games to qualify to play in the CAF Confederations Cup or the Champions League. So we have always complained about it, and because of that, last season there was an abridged league so as to align properly with the calendar. Now we are running short or completely out of CAF and FIFA calendar again. So I really don't know why those who run football, the league management level, are still finding it difficult to plan. We need eggheads in the league management company and not just any official tools, so to say, because it is not rocket science, I repeat. It is not rocket science to plan season calendar. Meanwhile, players are getting ready. The club sides, are, like Eko mentioned, are ready as well. We only had Rangers International only completed the signing of goalkeeper Chukwemeka, ahead of the season from Wiki Torres on the 2-year deal.
Yeah, this is the transfer season in the MPFL is still on. Some players, and this is even more time. And now that they've shifted the league, we're yet to get the new announcement of the date. But we feel that the clubs also have to get some of players to beef up their score. For Enugu Rangers, they truly want to change the narrative. And so the best way, Fidelis Ilechukwu understands that is to you need a full squad, that will get you play 38 games, because this is not going to be the best form of the league. So we'll keep our finger crossed. I'm only concerned about what you talked about the aligning with the calendar, because the essence of starting early would have been to align with the calendar. Unfortunately, we may still have difficulties, in aligning because of the steady postponement. But clubs are ready. Some have already talked about a preseason tournament. But like I said, too much preseason tournament does not create a fund for a league that should start, when others are. But we'll keep our finger crossed. Maybe after AGM on Sunday in Uyo, we'll get to know what next for the league.
Club sides continue to prepare. Doma United, one of the new entrants into the league, is getting prepared. They've had to sign as many as 4 players as well. Meanwhile, let's look at the teams that are the continent for Nigeria. Bender Insurance are getting a feel after nearly 2 years of absence from top-level football. They are at the continent playing at the Confederations Cup for Nigeria, and they have a very difficult opponent, RS Bakani of Morocco, as they are team to contend with in the second qualifying game of the CAF Confederations Cup. How prepared is Insurance of Benin? We understand they have a fixture against this Moroccan side, return leg fixture taking place in the Samuel Sagbo Stadium. I think that will be on the 19th of September.
I think part of the preparation has we've seen how the state government, sponsor and push them to achieving something great. But this is going to be their biggest start, because you win this one, you are sure of qualifying to the group stage of the CAF Confederation Cup. For Bender Insurance, I think Bender Insurance they will have it very difficult against RS Bakane. We saw Bakane, won 2 seasons ago, and they are still looking like a team that want to play in the CAF Champions League, and it won't be easy at all for them. So I think that going away from home to get a good point, if you can score goals over there, that will really tell what happens back here, in Benin. But if you look on paper, it doesn't look like, I don't want to be pessimistic, but it doesn't look like Benin Insurance can pull the chestnut out of the fire.
First leg fixture at the Samuel Sagbo Stadium between the RS Bakane and the Insurance of Benin. It promises to be thrilling. Like we mentioned, they have been away from top-level football for some time. But with the support they are getting from the state government and football stakeholders here, they should be able to overcome their counterparts from Morocco. But talking about RS Bakane, they are former champions, so they really know what it means to struggle their stuff at the CAF Confederations Cup as compared to Insurance, who has been away from top-level football for nearly 30 years. Meanwhile, all is now set for the last qualifier for the African Cup of Nations coming up next year. The Super Eagles of Nigeria have qualified, but they still have to complete up all of the fixtures. For this encounter at this Gospel Akpabio Stadium on Sunday. The two teams have arrived the city of Uyo. We know of the arrival of the team from Sao Tome and Principe yesterday. Before then, the Super Eagles of Nigeria had earlier arrived 48 hours ago in the city of Uyo. So it looks like all is now set for this encounter. Epo, what should Nigerians expect following the arrivals of these two teams?
Now that the two teams have arrived, I think that Nigerians should expect it's a dead rubber game, and so expectations will just be to see goals. If we score anything less than 4 goals, Nigerians will not be happy because we saw what played out in the first game when they played away from home. And so if you have taken the pain to invite all the big scores instead of using the home base, then you should be able to we should see goals. The reign of goals should be what we talked about after that encounter on Sunday. So for me, I keep my finger crossed, but any team who comes to Nigeria to play Nigeria can be very dogged. So I won't be surprised too to see StarTimes and Principal, even if they have nothing to play for anymore, they also want to make their name by showcasing some strength. Maybe not to win us, because they may not be able to win, but they can prove a point. So this is football, and you cannot take anything for granted.
Talking about the Super Eagles in the last qualifier for for next year's Cup of Nations, we now have Sao Tome and Principal to contend with. 23 players are in the squad in Uyo already to represent the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Only one of them, the goalkeeper, is a home-based player. So it is a dead rubber game, like people mentioned. But the handlers of the Super Eagles are taking it very seriously, good enough to invite 22 foreign-based players there. That's for the Cup of Nations, but for the World Cup qualifier, the 2026 World Cup qualifiers are already in the top gear, and we are told that the Super Eagles of Nigeria will start the campaign with the home game against Lesotho.
For Lesotho, it's good. I mean, we have Lesotho, we have Zimbabwe, and we have others in the team. And this is the first point. You need to win to qualify to be sure you're going to play. And so I'm also happy that we have our coach. So with the blend of inviting the players that we're going to see on Sunday, is to gel the team. That means he's gradually building a team for the AFCON as well as the qualifiers for the World Cup. So we'll keep our finger crossed and let's see how it goes. But Lesotho should not be our problem because Lesotho, they are still not a powerhouse when it comes to football in Africa.
No minnows in football, but Lesotho can trouble you if you take them for granted. We understand all of those features are already on, and let's see how it ends. But we are told final round of qualifiers in Africa will be sometime in October 2025. So good, the race for 2026 in FIFA World Cup are on. Well, talking about quality of players that will be on showcase in Uyo, we have Victor Osimhen, leading that one. Like you mentioned, there should be goals in it. But talking about Victor Osimhen reminds me of the fact that in nearly 30 years, the last time we saw a Nigerian being nominated for the Ballon d'Or award, now we have 2 Nigerians. At the very first time, an African country will present 2 players for the Ballon d'Or award, one in the male category and one in the female category. Victor Osimhen for male, and of course, Asisa Oshola in the female category. This is good development for Nigerian footballers.
Good development, good export, good product, good branding for the system. It shows that, I mean, when you see the names and they are from Nigeria, it shows, I mean, the name...
We've never seen that in the nearly 30 years.
It happened in the last 3 decades, and I can feel the joy. I was telling the friends, it doesn't matter whether they are shortlisted in the last 10, the next 10, but then I feel that they have done very well. For Asisa Oshola, he has been very consistent in club levels, even when he had injuries. Whenever she comes back, she was also one of the highest goal scorers at last season's UEFA Champions League. So the likes of Gianni Hamaso and Putillas, all of them putting effort to ensure that they lift Barcelona Femini to a level that is required. Before that, it used to be Leon, but with Asisa Oshola and the partnership, they have done so well. So Asisa Oshola deserves to be in that list, because of her effort. Scored a goal at the last, World Cup. So for me, I think that this is truly, and the fans will be voting. So for me, I just keep it open to see how far it all goes. I don't expect Victor Osimhen to win. If he gets to win it, it will be very shocking and surprising to me, but I expect him to at least get to the later stages where we'll begin to get the wheat from the top. But announcing his name, truly he deserves to be there because of what he has achieved last season and what he has what he's still doing and what possibly he will do tomorrow.
Victor Osimhen having scored as many as over 30 goals last season in all competition deserves to be on that list. Anyway, now let's go to Europe because we have to wrap up in the next few minutes or so. And talking about Europe, we know that there have been a lot of high-profile movements, and much was expected as well. But everybody knows the attention has been on Saudi Arabia with their mega box. But in terms of players' movement, it's now been confirmed that the big one would not be leaving Liverpool after all, because transfer window has closed in Saudi Arabia, and Mo Salah is still with the Liverpool side.
Regardless of the amount of money, the 200 million euros, placed 223, but yet Jurgen Klopp said earlier that there's no way, no amount of money that will pull Salah. Salah looks like the only player who is experienced staying in that side, and they don't want to trade him for anything. Because even if Salah agrees, of course, we hear that at some point he agreed to the deal. But the club will not, because he takes the club, and that shows that they don't want the money. And so he has to stay. He has no choice but to stay. He has a whole lot to achieve with Liverpool. And with the way they've gone about this season, I think that he will be one of their main player, to help them achieving something that they lost last season.
Deadline day closed in Saudi Arabia, and Liverpool FC, despite being tempted with 200 million euros, pounds, cannot let go of their star player Mo Salah. So Salah stays up to at least till January, when the window will open again. Talking about players' movement, there's been another high-profile movement from Arsenal. One of their former, that's the most expensive players, Pepe, has now moved to Turkish side. What do you make of the Trabzonspor is now the next destination for Pepe? Is this good for Arsenal?
It's good for Arsenal because Mikel Arteta, since last season, he made it very known with his actions that Pepe do not have a stake in that team. And the moment a coach or a manager makes it known to you, there's nothing you do to please him. So the best is to leave the club for him. We saw same with Ozil too at some point. So I think that for Pepe, who cost them £72 million back then, they paid that.
For me, do you think he has really justified that sum of 72?
He hasn't justified, but that's part of the reason why Arsenal, they are not pleased. He showed brilliance with the French side before coming into the Arsenal setup. Unfortunately, he's finding it very difficult to blend and showcase what he's made of. And sometimes too, Arteta accused him last year of being very lazy in training. So I think that the best is to move. Now, Turkish side seems to be one area that players who do not want to stay with their clubs are moving, and I just hope that he will be able to showcase his skill there. He still have a lot to play for, and I want to see him play truly.
Well, talking about players' movement, we mentioned to you there, it has to be next in January, because the window has now closed, in Saudi Arabia, and let's hope that there will be no more high-profile movement from the league in England, where a lot of Nigerians follow. But talking about Premiership football reminds me of Taiwo Awoniyi, who is one of the new players playing the Premiership in England. He's just been named the month of August 2023 Premier League player. What do you make of it? Taiwo Awoniyi was an addition last season, but wasn't as prolific like we have seen so far this 2023-2024 football season. He scored 3 goals in 4 games.
Yeah, Taiwo Awoniyi is just continuing where he ended up last season, and I'm not surprised. I mean, for him to be nominated shows that they voted rightly, because if you want to judge in the last 1 month when the league kicked off, what players have done, you don't want to exclude him, because he has scored 3 goals, like you said, in 4 games. That shows you a class of a top striker, and I think he deserves to be there. But will he get to win it? I mean, it all depends. So we've seen if you want to judge Ellen Brut Haaland, he has been firing from all cylinders. So it's going to be very difficult, because the fans are the ones voting here, and possibly they might give it to the whoever player that the fee deems it.
Well, I think it's worthy to note that at least he's been mentioned amongst the nominees, and that is a good recognition for Nigeria's Taiwo Awoniyi, who plays his professional football for Nottingham Forest in the Premiership in England. It's not only coaches that, players are getting mentioned in terms of price for the month. We have coaches as well. And Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola, and Jurgen Klopp so far have done well in the month of August.
Adding Ange Postecoglou of Tottenham Hotspur too. But I think that Mikel Arteta has been very consistent. Even if you look at Pep Guardiola, they have won it before. But for Pep Guardiola, if you look at the 2 matches, his last 2 matches that he was not there might, hinder him. But then look at the exploit of Angie Postecoglou and look at what David Moyes have also done. It shows that truly, for me, if the fans want to be sympathetic, I don't feel that they might give it to a West Ham coach, David Moyes, because David Moyes is really doing a good job. I mean, getting to win 2 of those games, it wasn't easy at all. But I think that Arteta, Gasner, they look silver right to winning this one.
Well, that's it for this edition of the program. There are a couple of matches being played across Europe, some international qualifiers, and of course, some as well going into friendly games because this is international break, a weekend in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot yesterday. Ghana in the qualifiers were able to get past their counterpart from the Central African Republic. We also seen some, Malta, Gabriela. I mean, a lot. Kenya also against some of the teams. So I think that this is a period where whether you are playing the qualifiers or not, you just want to be part of what is happening in the international system and just to keep your national team players, warmed up. So we'll keep our finger crossed and see how far some of the matches will be. But for yesterday, we are beginning to see now. From today, we'll get to see more. Even over the weekend, it will be a galore of matches to keep our eyes on.
One match that we saw last night was Republic of Ireland against France, or France against Republic of Ireland. France beat Ireland by 2-1, and it looks like these countries, of course, use the opportunity to prepare themselves for the World Cup as well. We saw Serbia lose at home to Hungary. We would have expected Hungary to beat Serbia at home.
I mean, this is what you get to see. It's an European tie, and so they expect that it could go either side. Hungary is maybe not a team that you want to see, but we don't take anything for granted too, because that's why it's called, either friendly or you talked about this period. So I think that I love the way the European calendar is rolled out. They play friendly, then play qualifiers. European qualifiers. It also helps them. So for us, I think that we should take a cue. When we invite players to come, give them one friendly game before the main qualifiers so that they will build the momentum, unlike what we are seeing, go straight to the qualifiers. I think that we should learn somehow from what is happening in the European system.
Oh, well, today, if you're full of European footballs, Latvia, Georgia will be at home against Spain, and that looks like a tricky fixture, if you ask me. Spaniards, everybody know about their exploits in the last a few years in top-level football, not to talk of Europe as well. But we'll bring you all results of these fixtures and the matches that we played both yesterday and today on our program Sports Extraordinary that comes out at 6 p.m. Nigerian time. Until then, remember,